movieweb.com.
After years of living in the city, I assumed that if my friends and I ever got our fairy tale endings, that would be the end of the story.
Hello.
Welcome home, baby.
I always knew she'd marry big.
You thought that after the second breakup?
Yep.
After the 15th?
We broke up a lot.
But real life
200 people?
But don't you
I
want?
want you. That's what I want.
always has a twist.
We've been tracking this film for a long time. The fans have been chomping at the bit to see the film adaptation. Tell us what took so long, how did you get to this point, and what really threw it over the edge?
What took so long, I think, is just timing. And how we got here was 2 years ago. I just had an instinct that it was time to revisit it, and have been basically working every single minute of every single day since with Michael Patrick to see that it got done. And I think, you know, it was the commitment and enthusiasm of the audience that really even gave us the opportunity to pursue it. And I think of the love of this cast and wanting to be together again and having a screenplay that nobody could say no to. It's just a beautiful story he told.
Sarah Jessica, you know, a couple years ago, said, you know, why aren't we making this film? And let's go back and revisit it and see if we can pull it together. And amazingly, we were able to.
Well, I think that everything starts with a script, you know, and I think that Michael really finally came up with an idea and a script that he was so happy about. And he said that it kind of wrote itself in the sense of those storylines just seemed so natural. And what happened in the 4 years that the show wasn't on television anymore is the fan base just grew and grew and grew. And I feel that the timing was right. This was the right time to make this movie. And I think the script and the production values, everything else, really, I feel raised the bar because we ended on such a high note. And that's always the fear is, have we stayed too long? Have we said enough? And I think there was more to do, and hopefully the fans will be satisfied with what we did.
I think it's hard to say one thing that happened. I think that it took three things. Michael Patrick was secretly writing the movie in his head, number one. You know, every time I would see him, he would say, wouldn't it be great if we did blah, blah, blah? And I'd say, yes, it would be great, Michael, do it. But, you know, it takes a village, basically, you know that saying, right? So it took Sarah Jessica getting on the phone, kind of starting the process. And then it took the good people at New Line, Bob Shea, Toby Emmerich, to greenlight us because it's a big budget. It's not a little movie. Like, we needed a budget to do the vision that Michael Patrick had. So it took all those elements to kind of come together as one.
There's a lot of fan expectation from the TV show, you know, expecting a lot for the film. As a director, writer, producer, what did you do to make this more cinematic for the big screen?
The first thing I did was I thought, okay, it's a bigger screen. The story has to be bigger. I want to have a bigger arc, a bigger scope. You know, and in the tradition of all movies, I wanted it to be really emotional and have a big story. So the first thing I did was, okay, what's the structure? And I thought, a year. A year feels like a movie. You know, the series was never really, no one sit-down experience happened in a year. So you get a year, you get 4 emotional seasons, you get 4 literal seasons. It's fun.
How is this place even available?
Nasty divorce.
If you live here, what is there to fight about? Well, now I understand the divorce.
I can build you a better closet. Welcome home, baby.
Can we afford this?
I got it.
Is there anything that's better than walking down the street and someone going, hey, there's Mr. Big?
Yeah,
or does it annoy you, or do you like that?
There's a lot of things better than that, my friend. Not that it's terrible and it's not a tragedy, but there's many things better.
Does it annoy you, the fan reaction, or do you kind of get into
that particular reaction is something I usually ignore. And I'll tell you why. Because my name is Chris, and what I do is on there, and I'm glad people love it. But when I'm in life, I don't respond as a character from something I've done, and I don't like to be seen as one. And I wouldn't do it to someone as if I was 15 years old. So I'm a little confused. I don't mean to sound like a bad sport, but I must nip this in the bud now and say that I don't enjoy that.
Oh, I remember that smile. Who's the guy?
It's the one I just met. He wants me to meet him for drinks.
At 11:30? Oh, that's a booty call.
No, it's not. He's a waiter. He just got off work.
Louise, now I may not get texts, I may not send texts, but trust me, the subtext of that text, bootay.
But if he meets me, then it's not a booty call, right?
All right, then. Enjoy yourself. That's what your 20s are for. Your 30s are to learn the lessons. Your 40s are to pay for the drinks.
Well, in that case, I'd take another one.
Well, obviously, you're coming off this massive success with Dreamgirls. What led to the casting of Louise in this film?
Well, they created a character. They felt they needed a new character, someone that was of a different way, a different place, another side of the tracks. And then I came along, and they gave me a call and wanted me to come out and read, and I did, and here I am.
Most of your scenes are working with Sarah. What was it like working with her? She's made like this Carrie character like penultimate among women globally.
Yeah, it was an honor for me and an experience. Like, it's something I will always hold dear and take with me, to be able to work with her and to be a part of Sex and the City, a cast that was already well established and built its foundation, and then they chose to have me, and I'm like, what? I'm still sitting here like, wow, for real?
How often do you guys have sex?
Sex.
Miranda, please. What? She's 3. She doesn't know what it means. I'm 41 and I still don't know what it means.
I know, but she is repeating everything.
If I'd known the Girl Talk was going to be on lockdown, I wouldn't have flown 3,000 miles.
No, we can talk. Let's just not use that word.
Fine. How often do you guys...
Color?
Thank you. Well, I can't color enough. I could color all day, every day if I had my way. I would use every crayon in my box.
We get it. You love to color.
So do you see further adventures of Carrie in Sex and the City?
I don't really feel that's our decision to make. I feel like, it's really up to you and your colleagues and the critics, and of course, who shows up. And I think the next 35 days will really dictate more what happens, to the future of this franchise, far more than what we want or don't want. So, we'll see.
We had such a fabulous time, and the fans were so loyal. The first day of shooting, there was about 300 people turned out. I don't know how they knew where we were, but they all showed up with cameras and support, and it was like our own personal cheering section everywhere we went in New York City when we were filming. It was such a great celebration. I'm so glad we did it.
I think that there's always a possibility, and the reason for that is that we have Michael Patrick King, who literally, if you had seen, there was like a 350-page version of this script. And he had to, of course, cut it for obvious reasons. But he has so much creativity and so much in his head about the characters and the world and of our world, that I trust him. He could probably write 10 movies next week.
All right, so you're definitely on board if there are sequels.
Of course.
Good stuff.
I would be over the moon. I mean, I'm over the moon now that we got this made.
I don't know. It's not up to me. If Michael Patrick thinks he can write another one, then I will definitely be there with him.
If it does well, do you see further adventures of Sex and the City? Do you see yourself coming back and making sequels and directing more?
The series finale ended and I thought, well, we're done. And here we are again. So the fact of the matter is the characters are very vibrant. They're always going to be interesting to people as long as they're as true as they are in the movie. 40, 50, 60, they'll always be Carrie, Miranda, Samantha, and Charlotte. I'm the type of guy, when I'm having a sexual moment like I'm having right now, I really like to stay focused on this until I finish. So I'm really not worried about the sex that's coming around the corner. But who's going to turn down a lot of good sex?
You're even dressing up.
The only 2 choices for women, witch and sexy kitten.
Oh, you just said a mouthful there, sister.
Jeez, honey, wax much?
When you're married, you have a different set of priorities.
This one's married and she's not growing a national forest.
Life doesn't always turn out to be your fantasy. That's why you need friendships that are real to get you through it all. And Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after.
You know, things don't always happen like this in real life. I just think you should know that now.